Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the NRW. I'm your host, Rob Medina, and I thank you all very much for joining me here today because today I'm going to be reviewing the short film in One Armed Rabbit. How I came across this movie is because my guest on the show this week in You're So Cool with Rob Medina is going to be Colleen Elizabeth Miller. During my conversation with her, she had shared some really insightful stuff about her journey about one particular film that she tried to make, which was called Kaleidoscope, which is basically a gender bender take on the Joker, which is not a Joker film really, but it is more or less a Joker character, if that makes any sense. But what was interesting about the story that she was sharing was that she came really close to making that film well before the production of Joker featuring, Joaquin Phoenix. And this was a film that she had wrote well before that movie had ever been written, if I recall correctly. So there were so many things that had occurred along the way that eventually prevented from the film being made, because they were literally, I think, about 5 days, if I recall correctly from what she said, from getting the film started, and then the plug was pulled. And since then, she didn't have a lot of success in trying to getting the film made here. But it seems like there are some steps that are getting closer and closer to getting that to happen from the conversation I had here with her. But having her share her insight about what the ideas were for that movie, and she didn't go in depth with it, but she definitely shared some interesting bits about what she thought would make the film really unique in that respect, and the fact that she was going to play more or less like this Joker type character, and that the Harley Quinn type character will be played by a man. So there's a flip side to that dynamic with the characters that we're so accustomed to in the mainstream cinema, if you will, and comic books and whatever else, that she was going to do something truly different in that respect and just adding her own twist to it. And when she had talked about that, she had made another film called One Armed Rabbit, and then she said, I can send this movie to you, and if you want to review it, feel free to do so. I said, absolutely. So I happened to see this film, and I can truthfully say that I really did enjoy this movie. There are so many things about this film that I had taken away from that really gets me excited about having to see in this film Kaleidoscope, which is the name of this gender bender Joker film that she wants to make, that I'm looking at the sense of humor in this story and the take on more or less a genre that we've all seen before, but just doing something different with it and putting her own flair to it, if you will, that makes me really invested and want to see this story that she's going to hopefully make in the very near future here. But here's what I'll also say about this movie too, because the plot synopsis to this film is rather simple. It's just about a military personnel who fell out of the aircraft and then they landed on the desert. They woke up after passing out, I'm assuming from being knocked out. I meant to say being knocked out. Sorry. And then along the way, she starts to hallucinate. She doesn't have enough water in her, and it's extremely hot outside. She's wearing her military attire. And then along the way, she comes across a rabbit who starts to talk to her. And then eventually the rabbit becomes a puppet on her hand, and they have this altercation between each other. And, without revealing too much, but let's just say that the rabbit ends up getting the upper hand. And I thought that was really interesting because what she was doing with that story and the way that she's conveying these comedy beats here with her physicality and the fight sequences that she has with herself with this puppet on her hand, honestly was really interesting. And the way that she directed this short film, to me, shows that she's a very, very good director. She has a really good eye in capturing the scope of the comedy, the scope of the characters, the scope of the environment, and really letting you have that sink in with you along the way. And this film is about, I would say, 7 minutes long, if I recall correctly. And it flew by really quick here for me. Now, I will be honest, though, that I do know this is not going to be a film for everybody, because during my conversation with her, she did say that at the end of the film, I want people to feel like, what the hell did I just watch? And truthfully, that's kind of what I felt about watching this movie. Not in a negative light, at least for me personally. But when I did see the film the second time around, I'm not going to say that I got the humor more, or I did get the humor, I meant to say, but I started to get more acquainted with her take on comedy, that the more I saw, because I've seen the film a total of 4 times now, the more that I saw it, I can't wait to see this film Kaleidoscope that she's intending on making. And I hope she comes to make this film really, really soon, because what we just saw right there, at least what I saw in this film here, is just the tip of the iceberg of what she's truly capable of pulling off here when it comes to her brand of comedy, her brand of storytelling, and her style of directing as well too, which all is done very well in my opinion. The cinematography in this film, the directing, as I mentioned before, is all done very, very well. Now, as far as the humor is concerned, I really did like the humor in this movie. Now, I'm not going to say that I didn't like certain beats of it. I just felt like there were certain moments it didn't hit with me all the way through. But when I went back to watch the film again, the second, third, and fourth time around here, it started to sink in with me a little bit more, because now that I've got a better understanding, to say, with her style of comedy, it started to make more sense to me, if that makes any sense here. So again, I just know that this is not going to be a film that everyone will that everyone's going to walk away, say, I get it. I do think that at times when you watch this film, you have to go back and revisit it again to let certain things sink in, because I think upon first viewing, it's just that, what the hell did I just watch? Going back at it again and getting yourself acquainted with the film the first time around, seeing it again and again and again, you have a better understanding here of what her style of comedy is, at least with this film. I'm sure with Kaleidoscope, it's not going to be like that, but I'm sure there'll be certain elements of her approach with comedy you see in this film that will be very much present in this film that she's intending on writing and directing, hopefully in the near future here. But really, that's going to be it on my thoughts on this short film, because there's really not a whole lot that I could take away from that I can really point out as far as like any real negatives with this film is concerned, because the positives are really fantastic in my opinion. Well directed, very funny in my opinion. Colleen is fantastic in the film as well too. She definitely is a really good actress. In fact, I actually reviewed a film that I did not too long ago here called Bull Shark, and she was in that movie as well. And I thought she was great in the film, although she's not in the film very much. But the times that she's in the movie, she definitely makes her presence known in that film, and she definitely does carry that same momentum as far as I'm concerned in this movie. But obviously, she's the only person in the film, but she definitely has a quality about her that you can't keep your eyes off. And what I mean by that is that she has a certain charisma that really is felt in this movie, that I think that, you know, the way that she's able to direct this film and have her presence in the movie in terms of the acting department here, she definitely does have a really good eye in telling story, with not only with her writing and her directing, but with her acting as well too, which I thought she did a really good job. But as far as any negatives are concerned with this movie, I really don't have any negatives at all. I mean, I can't think of anything that will come out that comes to mind, I should say, that will that became like an issue for me with the movie. I don't think it really had anything like that at all. So really no negatives at all. I'm not saying it's a perfect film by any means, so I don't want to give the impression that this is a perfect movie. It's not, but I just can't think of anything that comes to mind right now that sticks out as being a sticking point here for me. So as far as I'm concerned, this is a great little film here, and I'm hoping that one day this will be available for the public to check out and for you all to enjoy, and hopefully understand what I'm referring to when you watch the film and get to that point at the end where you realize, where you ask yourself, I should say, what the fuck did I just watch? Because this was something that was really entertaining in my opinion, and I honestly can't wait to see what other things she can do, where she will have full control when it comes to her writing and directing, because I think she's capable of doing some really good stuff here. So for me, as far as my rating is concerned, I'd say this movie is a raise a glass. And those are my thoughts on the film. And if you have had a chance to see this movie at one of the festival runs where this film was available here to check out, I would love to hear you guys' thoughts in the comment section down below. And also, if you haven't done so already, subscribe to the channel. Make sure you share, like our videos, and hit the notification while you're down there as well too. And follow the NRW on the social medias. On Instagram, New Release Wednesdays. On Facebook, Nerds Rule the World. And on Twitter, at the NRW. And you can follow me on my social media accounts. On Instagram and Twitter, Mr. Rob Medina. And on Facebook, simply just Rob Medina. And my guest this week on You're So Cool with Rob Medina, as I mentioned before, is Miss Colleen Elizabeth Miller, who I really did have a wonderful conversation with her, and I would love to have her back on again, especially once she has this film made here, because the film I meant to say for Kaleidoscope, because I really would love to hear what her story was in actually making that movie. So I'm hoping that will come to fruition one day, and that we could just pick up from where we last left off here, I meant to say. So be sure to be looking out for that episode when it drops this Friday here on the NRW. And also follow the show's social media accounts as well. On Instagram, You're So Cool with Rob Medina, and on Twitter, You're So Cool WRM. And until next time, everybody, I hope you guys enjoy this review. And until next time, stay safe out there, and cheers.